Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Martin Dreyfus Show. Welcome back to our continued coverage of the Russia and Ukraine crisis. As of recent, we started providing Ukraine with Switchblade drones, and I want to know about how many, how much money we're giving, and kind of all the logistics surrounding the Switchblade accusations, as well as we're going to watch videos of what these Switchblade drones actually do in combat. So without any further ado, here's MSNBC with the news.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky gave an impassioned address in a virtual address to U.S. lawmakers. He once again requested a no-fly zone over his country and pleaded for more security assistance in its conflict with Russia. Now, a no-fly zone remains off the table, but a few hours later, President Joe Biden authorized a new package of $800 million in military aid. This is in addition to the $200 million he approved over the weekend.
So we, in 4 days, have provided Ukraine $1 billion in security assistance. And these aren't the first executive orders we've signed. I believe the first one we signed was $300 million. So these are the three I know about. There might be more. But that's $1.3 billion in like 2 or 3 weeks that the United States has provided Ukraine for security assistance. So I'm curious to see, even if that's the total, or how much more we're willing to give, or if there's kind of an open checkbook for Ukraine right now, which it kind of seems that way.
Now, the new aid packages include more of the Javelin anti-tank and Stinger anti-aircraft weapons that the Biden administration had previously sent to Ukraine and which have been used to great effect against Russian troops. But the administration is also sending 100 of what it referred to as, quote, tactical unmanned aerial systems. Two congressional officials told NBC News today that those tactical unmanned aerial systems are actually something called Switchblade drones, similar to the ones that you'd see here. They're portable, low-cost, single-use weapons that can strike enemy targets from miles away and fly much faster than the Turkish drones that Ukraine has been using to date.
Well, obviously, they can fly faster than Turkish drones. We have the most insane military budget in the world, which I want to spend some time overviewing the militaries of the world in the future. But only 100 is kind of interesting to me. I guess 100 drone strikes is significant, but I guess it's kind of like a tester. I obviously view a lot of these things from the perspective of how much are we pissing Vladimir Putin off. And is he going to cause a world war? Because the best term I heard about Putin is we've kind of backed the bear into a corner. We've cut off all of his economy. It's tanking his economy. And, he's not really winning this war as clean or as efficient as we believe he wants to. And as a bear's backed into a corner, you fear that he might strike, and he could still kill somebody. He might not win the war, but he could still kill somebody, right? So I'm wondering if this is more so testing the waters from that perspective and kind of just, here's 100, you can use these, let's see how pissed off this makes Russia. Because if we were going to just give them the drones to win the war, we'd give them 1,000, right? We wouldn't just transport like one crate of drones over there, however that works. So I'm wondering the thinking behind only sending 100, but I'm still sure the 100 U.S. drones will be very useful for them.
These U.S. Switchblade drones are also small enough that they cannot be detected by most air defense systems.
That's a super important topic. I don't know why they have 30 seconds of unmarked time in their video. That they can't be seen by the air defense systems. Because, if an air defense system doesn't see you, then you're going to get through it. But if it does see you, it's going to shoot down the missile. That's why, although there's threats of nuclear war, we have to understand the level of missile defense systems in the world. And it would be very complicated. It wouldn't be as simple as a plane just flying over and dropping a bomb, I don't think, anymore. But this is what a Switchblade drone looks like. I know in this one they call it a killer drone. I'm pretty sure this video is a little bit older. It's about a year old. So, actually, it's only about 4 months old. My apologies. So this is what those
Amid the
drones
quiet
do.
beauty of the
This is what
Utah
they look
desert, a deadly new kind of weapon on display. NBC News got an exclusive look at a so-called killer drone. It doesn't fire a missile, it is the missile.
This is about the size of a toy drone I bought my 12-year-old a few years ago.
The Switchblade can be carried into battle in a backpack and launched miles away from a threat.
Once a target is identified, the Switchblade can find it and kill it in minutes.
Launching! AeroVironment, the drone...
That's super key, but I think it's a very single target drone from the looks of it. I mean, it's not creating a huge impact. It didn't even look like it exploded that car. My question becomes, is that like if I direct hit a truck, or is everyone dead in that truck? I mean, it creates an explosion, right? But it didn't show enough time to see if the windows were even blown. I mean, I'm sure they got to be effective. They can't just not be effective. I guess just with, obviously the insane missiles we see, something like that just doesn't give that same punch, but I mean, it's still a targeted, precise explosion. And if it hit a person, I'm sure it would kill him. I'm just curious how it does for like vehicle damage, or like, does it even do anything to a tank, or I'm not sure.
Drone's manufacturer showed us how an operator
starting our turn.
can put a Switchblade through the window of a truck. Onboard cameras capture the moment before impact.
How far away was the Switchblade when it took that picture?
About 3 meters from the target.
At about $6,000 each, the Switchblade costs a fraction of the $150,000 Hellfire missiles fired from larger military drones. The Pentagon has made deadly mistakes using drones, including in August, when the U.S. military fired at what it thought was an ISIS target, but instead killed 10 civilians, including 7 children.
That's the stuff we don't even hear about in America. And we don't even hear about, I guess this is NBC, but I never even heard about this. We misfired a drone and killed 10 civilians, 7 children. That car was blown to smithereens, so I'm assuming that the drone does do pretty good damage. You can put it through a window, which is pretty impressive. Like, every time I see this technology, it literally looks like Call of Duty to me. And I know that's ignorant for me to say, but the fact is I'm not ex-Marine or anything. So as far as military technology, I am ignorant. And so whenever I see this, they're literally like moving a mouse pointer and just putting it through, or a joystick and just putting it through a window. And that's insane to me. And that's what makes that drone so effective, is that it can just go through that window, boom, car gone. But I'm wondering if that car was a Hellfire missile and that's why we use these. I'm not totally sure, but the fact that we just killed 10 civilians, I feel like that should have been a little bit more known.
Officials told NBC News analysts saw a child in the target area, but the missile had already been launched. The Afghan-born CEO of AeroVironment says their weapon can cancel an attack up to 2 seconds before impact.
You can make decisions while you're flying the missile in the air as to what to do during your mission.
But the development of smaller, cheaper drones, already being used on the battlefield, pose new dangers for the U.S., too. Paul Shar, a retired U.S. Army Ranger, says weapons like these change the game.
It levels the playing field between the U.S. and terrorist groups or rebel groups in a way that's certainly not good for the United States.
So I guess that other car missile was a bigger missile, and it's cool that these missiles are better. I'm not as concerned with how it affects the U.S. We're going to watch a lot of videos together on why the U.S. is a very stout force, and even though there is a lot of other huge countries, why we are pretty dominant in the military space. At first, I didn't know that we could do some of the things that we could do, and there's a lot of things that I know that none of us know that we can do, but it's nice to see that we can at least maybe not kill 7 children with a missile. But as far as the main topic here, that will be very, very useful for the Ukrainians, because if they can identify generals or commanders of the Russian army, they can just target them. Boom, gone, boom, gone. And they're they're invading, so it's not like they have to go searching and finding. They're eventually going to be out. They could very well make a mistake and then just get them done. So very beneficial for the Ukrainians. Only 100, so obviously they have to use them very wisely. I'm very curious to see how the military aid for Ukraine continues to progress, in all honesty.